Hey, how's it going? It's been a little while since I last uploaded, about 8 months actually, and so I've been getting a lot of requests to update. So I thought this was a good time to do so. I'm getting moved into a new apartment. I'm in fact sitting right where my gaming setup is going to be here in a few days. So I'm really excited to get that going. But more importantly, Avengers Endgame is coming out next week, and so far I've avoided all trailers, all teasers, everything. I've seen a few posters, which aren't spoilers at all, but I'm going to go into this movie completely fresh and eager to see what happens. And so to celebrate, I'm going to do two videos, one this week and one next week, before Endgame. Then I'll watch Endgame and do some review of it. So this will be Avengers PreGame, episode 1. I will tell you my 5 least favorite MCU films, excluding The Incredible Hulk, starring Edward Norton from 2008, because I haven't seen that one, and it's only loosely kind of connected anyway. But anyway, 5 worst MCU films, in my opinion. Let's go. So number 5, I will put number 5 as Thor: Dark World. It is a convoluted mess, is what Thor: Dark World is. I had to see it 2, maybe even 3 times to really get the end, to really get what's happening. It does the various very stereotypical movie tropes, which you're going to hear a lot about, cliches, predictable stuff that I just don't like in movies. I like when a movie can surprise me, and not bow to like Deus Ex Machina or just these other cliche tropes that just kind of ruin a film for me, which is why part of why some of these films are so low. I just made a list of the 21 Avengers films that are out, and I just put them in order. And some of the ones that are in the middle that I thought were just okay, were full of these tropes. Everything else was great, but there were so many of these cliches, these tropes. But yeah, Thor: Dark World, very confusing. At least it did contribute to the overarching story by introducing the Reality Stone. But overall, it was just a mess. And everyone I've ever talked to has claimed it to be one of their worst, one of their least favorite films. So I'm putting it at number 5. So next is number 4. This is going to be a very controversial choice. I know it. Every time I say this is probably one of my least favorites, people are up in arms ready to fight. This is Captain America: Civil War. Yes, I'm saying it's one of my least favorite. It's 4th from the bottom. Just because it's full of those cliches, it's full of just absurd plot moments. If you cut out all the Zemo stuff, it would easily be in the middle to upper half. The Zemo metagaming everything between Tony and Cap is just dumb, and we don't need it. We had enough tension and drama with the Sokovia Accords to propel the movie. We didn't need Zemo and his nonsense coming into the fray. Speaking of, Sokovia Accords are garbage. They've done nothing to the MCU. The only times they've come up, it's only been a name. They've never actually done anything. Even in Ant-Man and the Wasp, when Paul Rudd's character, whose name is just escaping my brain, he's being threatened with violations of the Sokovia Accords, and he still is out doing his Ant-Man thing, never gets caught, never gets punished. The only place that the Sokovia Accords comes into play is in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and that's dumb. I hate Cap Civil War. I said it. Anyway, number 3. This would be Guardians 2. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Again, lots of cliches, totally inconsistent character moments. Gamora and Quill are like complete polar opposites to kind of how they were in the first, especially with dealing with Quill's father. They're just like totally swapped, where Quill is the super distant, apathetic one, and Gamora is the really attached and sympathetic one. Just doesn't make any sense. It tries way too hard to hammer home its themes, its morals about fatherhood and Raccoon being a jerk, Rocket being a jerk, and giving what's his face, whose name escapes me. I should have written a script. I don't care. The hunter, the traitor, whatever his name was, giving him with the fin thing on his head, giving him redemption at the end, just kind of felt off to me. Not every villain or not every character needs redemption, and it was just cheesy and cheap and thrown in there right at the end, and I just didn't like it. So Guardians Volume 2, number 3 on my on my list, bottom number 3. So there are 2 films worse than that. Number 2, Ant-Man. This did next to nothing. I love Paul Rudd. Do not get me wrong. Paul Rudd is amazing, and I'm glad he's in the MCU. But it just doesn't do anything. His character is not endearing. Doesn't stand out in any way other than the fact that it's Paul Rudd. And he has a suit that shrinks. Ooh, big whoop. He's not the only one with a suit, and like all his does is shrink. Iron Man has a way better suit. T'Challa has a way better suit. Cap has a way better suit. But even within the film itself, the character is very inconsistent in the way that he acts regarding his duties and his family. It's just not a very well put together movie. It could be so much better. I just didn't really care for it. It didn't propel the overarching story. It just introduced a brand new character out of nowhere who was basically a nobody. And that leads me to number 1, my least favorite MCU film, that is Ant-Man and the Wasp. All the same problems of Ant-Man, but worse. Literally just giving us some convoluted thing for what's-his-face, whose name still escapes me, to be doing while Infinity War is happening. Just set up for him being in the temporal zone when Thanos snaps, and all the garbage of him running around doing Ant-Man things, shrinking, enlarging, meeting with the Hank Pym and his daughter, and never getting caught by the FBI or the UN or anybody. Even at the very end, when he's still told, after he's lost his ankle bracelet, he's still on probation for several years, and he's just out in the open at the very end, opening a portal to the temporal zone. What the heck, Marvel? So those are my 5 least favorite Marvel films. Let me know what you think in the comments below. How am I wrong? What do you think? What are your least favorite films? And tune in next week for my favorite Marvel films. I'll give you the top 5, a little bit of predictions about Endgame, having not seen any trailers. I'm so pumped that I've been able to do that. I even went to see Captain Marvel, and when the trailers came on, I covered my eyes and I plugged my ears, and I turned to look at my friends and just started talking loudly to them, just because I didn't want to hear anything. I don't want any of it to be spoiled. So let me know what you think in the comments below. If you have any other topics that you'd like me to talk about, like talking about reviewing Captain Marvel or Black Panther or any other Marvel films, like ranking them worst to best, best to worst, whatever you want. Just let me know in the comments below, and I look forward to showing you guys my setup and talking to you guys in the future. Peace.